I didn't study the personal changes of Sidney Poitier as he progressed in his career. I don't think there's anything I can unsay about pointing out that I feel he was appointed ambassador to Japan at a very suspicious time. It's very frustrating to me to have to make this tape again because the immediacy and summary that was on my mind has been expanded in my prior effort that I failed to save, unfortunately. But this was a time we're discussing when there was an attack on my character by the NAACP in Pittsburgh, in the area where at the time John Shulman, who was arrested in a $1 million museum heist, held a great deal of power. And much of that power was being expended circulating ill will towards me. And what happened with the NAACP was that they promoted a gang of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and Philadelphia, Pennsylvania intellectuals for black advancement who used me as a dummy to act out derision towards um, a white person. And a leader of this shenanigan was Yusu Endor, who was uploaded by the fossil fuel rockers for the royal family around Queen Elizabeth, particularly Peter Gabriel, who have never given me a minute's peace. Their gang has murdered friends of mine, have chased off lovers, have attacked me physically, taken elements of my health, while promoting a plan that involved call of dibs, where the Jeffin Corporation, who promoted Obama, arose wearing their horns proudly, as Barry Chad would say, over a setup with an Indian girl from the Indian crowd around Shulman, who gave Armstrong Williams, among other things, the power to strong arm the claim that I should be put down regarding my investigation on Mount Desert Island, which they were evidently filming for sexual gratification, and refusing to acknowledge that what I had found was a pre planned genocide pornography justification system. And they denied for Peter Gabriel and Yoko Ono that I had ever been held hostage. And yet, Todd Clark, who they said was just a Ringo Starr faithful fan, made a cameo appearance at Donald Ostro's, where I was held in terrible servitude and bondage as a frightened, brutalized, traumatized child. And they were using me for sex. He made an appearance once, and in his poetry book, he says cameo in prison's disaster. In prisons is the right word. I was their disaster boy. They had planted the script on me. They held me hostage. The language corroborates what I've always said. Yet they denied this to promote them. And one of his most famous songs was called Flame Over Africa, which shows you where they were leading. So, in order to make themselves part of the Trump scene of great power and celebrity, a number of black leaders pushed themselves ahead of human causes like a safe environment for us all, promoting grandiose, crazy schemes. Now, people might say that I'm being um, stubborn, but what I am being is factual to the record. Nobody can deny that I've been warning you that AIDS was a plan. Nobody can deny that I was poisoned in the mouth right before COVID-19 happened by the same people. Nobody can deny any of that. What they're doing is suggesting, without coming out and saying, that there was some kind of reason for supporting these flame over African nuts. And because he was promoting the black man or something zany like this. And you find that the idea of an arc while eliminating millions of people was written into the whole macabre of it. So um, they continued even to do this. So it's normal. Now, when I was in Seattle, after I had written all this in Pittsburgh, I came across corroboration in the cement in the Green Party happy part of town. Somebody had written Noah and free Nelson Mandela, which means that they, what I've always said, which is that they scuttled intelligence about AIDS and then tokenized Nelson Mandela to free him. Everybody wanted Nelson Mandela to be free, don't get me wrong. I certainly campaigned hard against apartheid. But they said I was getting in the way or something. All I was doing was sharing my opinion. How's that getting in the way? Who are these open mic bullies? And they take up for Flame Over Africa Nuts and the people who wrote the script and the people who killed Circe and the people who set up Pussy Ball over a one night stand. You've got to be kidding. I mean, Stokely Carmichael used to say things like the movement, place of women in the movement was prone. I don't say things like that. That's more like Donald Trump, but he certainly doesn't suggest a man who wasn't experienced with the other with the fairer sex. Yeah, what is it? Prying into somebody's life and making a stereotype pussy ball word game out of something that happened that you set up. It doesn't make any sense. What's all this licky chops token service to the military? I mean, make an ugly, ugly Caligula movie. And yet it's like their whole preposterous idea, Black Lives Matters. It's like calling dibs as rapists or something. I mean, don't attribute that to me either. Because I've never campaigned against interracial love. It's never been my thing, you know. And they take this Bobby Yendel girl from India and set up this bizarre plan where she tells me she has a roommate in college who's not home. And it's just college one night stand. Those kinds of things happened in Pittsburgh. It wasn't all that unusual. And they turned it into this blazing saddle scheme of falling skyscrapers. 111 and 911 and all of these crazy things over the sacred symbol of African glory, the taking of the Midori Virgin for Pussy Bowl. And you see it in their semiotics. They had it all set up. They were planning two versions of Pussy Bowl from the time when John Lennon was still visible, and then they call it Casper. And you have these black psychologists siding with a Klansman named Casper. How does that supposed to work? It works because of some kind of like Taliban show, the voodoo of sexual incarnation being demonic or something bizarre like that. I mean, why do they have to do this? Why do they have to light oil fields on fire to prove that George Bush is the Christian saint warrior of all humanity or something? I mean, it's typical of Greg Carl's mind. Don't get me wrong. Because say either we go do it or we'll turn the world to ash. I'm not saying it's not typical of his mind, but I don't understand why the NAACP went along with it. Why Sidney Poitier didn't speak out. It's creepy.